it's Farmer Dan, the Wannabe Texas Gardener. Hey everybody, this is Farmer Dan with the Wannabe Texas Gardener YouTube channel. The first video I put out, I wanted to do a little introduction video, kind of introduce you to the channel, what to expect, and to do that, we're going to do a little question and answer with my beautiful daughter Angela. So she's going to be asking me some questions and I'm going to answer, and hopefully it'll give you an idea of what to expect through this YouTube channel that we've got going here. So, on to you, Angela.
Alright. What's your name?
Well, besides going by Farmer Dan, my name is Daniel Shorey.
What's your day job?
Well, that's a very interesting question. My day job is I am a registered respiratory therapist, Texas respiratory care practitioner, and a certified chronic respiratory disease manager. So what that basically means is I go around and I help people breathe.
Are you married?
Yes, I am married to my wife and your mother, Joanna. We'll be married 21 years this year.
Do you have any kids besides me?
Yes, I have 2 children. I have you, my oldest child, my only daughter, Angela, and we have a son who will be 14 this year. His name is Gavin.
Do y'all have any animals?
We do. We've got a dog named Bonnie. She's a little basset hound who's about 6 years old. And then we have a German Shepherd mix. His name is Dozer, which is your dog. And he is about 3 years old. And then we have somewhere between 13 and 16 fish.
How did you get into gardening?
Well, gardening has always been part of our family. I can remember far back, as early as I can remember, my grandparents having a garden. When we would stay with them during gardening season, we would go out and we would help Papa till and plant seeds and watch them grow, and then when it came time to go pick the garden, me and my cousins would run around and get in trouble for kicking up dirt, and we'd go around and pick tomatoes and eat tomatoes fresh out of the garden right off the vine, or we'd go pick the blackberries or the dewberries, and we'd pick green beans and munch on them, or cucumbers, squash, just straight out of the garden. We'd have a little bucket that had water in it, and we'd go pick us something that we wanted to eat, run back to the bucket, dunk it to knock off some of the dirt and chow down. And as we grew up, my mother, she had a garden. They always canned. My grandma would can. My aunts would can. So they would pick the garden and put it up for the winter time. And now my mom does it. Now that grandma's passed away, mom does it. And so she's always, providing us with pickles or canned tomatoes or just some other type of vegetable that we can use around the house. So gardening's always been a part of our life, and I've always appreciated gardening. I've just never done it myself until now.
Why did you decide to start a YouTube channel?
Well, that's a very interesting question as well. When I decided that I wanted to start gardening, and we bought this place out here in the country, it was it's a 1 acre place, 1 acre piece of land with a house on it. And from when I grew up, there was always 10 and 12, 20 acres to be able to put a garden in. And I knew that the area that we had was not big enough to do a traditional in-ground garden. Plus, we have a lot of pine trees that have a lot of surface roots. So trying to till up the land in order to put a garden in the ground was going to be difficult. and the soil that we have around here is very clayey. There's a lot of clay in the soil, which is not good drainage. So I knew that the only way that I could successfully garden was to do raised beds. And so I started doing a lot of research online, specifically through YouTube, and found several YouTube channels that I like to watch that had a lot of very good information on how to do raised bed gardens, how to put garden mixes together, what kind of plants to raise. But what I didn't find was something that was more geared towards, I've never gardened before, this is how to do it. And while I don't expect this channel to be a how-to video channel, it really opened my eyes to that there's not a lot out there of, here's what I'm doing, here's what here's what I've tried, here's how it worked or didn't work, and here's what I'm going to do to change it next year. And so that's what I set out to do, was to start a channel that is a combination of education and entertainment.
How'd you come up with your channel name?
Well, the channel name came in a very interesting way. So we live in Carlos, Texas, which is right outside of the Bryan College Station area, about 86 miles from Houston, kind of northwest of Houston. I grew up down in Cuero, Texas, which is approximately 160 miles away from here, south of here, hence the hat, Cuero Gobblers, 2018 4A state champions, football, #1. And so I was down visiting my mom one weekend, and I told her that I was going to start gardening. And she was very surprised at that. And so whenever we were, I was telling her about the things that I learned on YouTube, about, like the differences between an indeterminate and a determinate tomato. And, every year she complains that her tomatoes crack. And so I was telling her the information that I'd heard on one of the YouTube channels that I watch, MIGardener, about, how to prevent cracking tomatoes and all these kinds of things. And so she kind of chuckled and said, "Oh, sounds like you're a YouTube wannabe gardener," just in jest, really. But it kind of took it. I was like, that sounds pretty about right. I've never gardened before, and I want to be a decent gardener. But it all came about through a conversation with my mom, trying to share information that I have learned through YouTube that she can incorporate in her years and years and years of knowledge and wisdom of gardening, and how she can overcome some of the complaints, if you will, that she's had with the gardening that she's been doing.
What are your goals with this channel?
Well, the first primary goal that I have with this is entertainment. I think a lot of stuff that's put out on YouTube specific to gardening is very informational, and I have learned an awful lot about how to do raised bed gardens, and the differences between types and styles of plants and those kinds of things, and I've appreciated everybody that's put the content out there for me to learn from. But I think that if you have a channel that's nothing but strict education, that over time it kind of gets boring. And so I want to put content out there that's educational, but primarily entertaining. I'm going to teach you the things that I've learned through the multiple channels that I have watched, but hopefully it comes across in an entertaining way to where you'll continue to come back. You'll see a title of a video that interests you, and then you come knowing that you're going to get good education behind it from resources and articles or other channels, so that it's good information and it's trustful information, but you're going to get it in an educational way, an entertaining way.
What kind of content do you plan to upload?
As far as the content goes, it's going to be it'll vary from week to week. So the actual content is going to be multifaceted. Throughout the growing season, we'll have content on, like the first few videos are going to be me putting the raised beds together. The first video that you'll see is about this soil that's going into the raised bed. I didn't do a video of me building the raised bed because the idea for actually doing the channel came after I'd already built the raised bed. So there'll be content on what soil I put together to put in there, a trellising system, just the different parts of the raised bed garden, how to use a raised bed garden, how to grow things in the garden, what types of vegetables I'm growing, why I chose those vegetables, and then the growth along the way. We'll also have videos on recipes. I went to culinary school at one time. I didn't finish, but I did go. And so we'll share some videos of recipes that I like to cook for the family. And especially when we start harvesting the vegetables, how to utilize those vegetables in those recipes. There'll be, I'm also a woodworker. So if there's a woodworking project that I'm working on around the house, I'm trying to redo the laundry room and build some cabinets in the kitchen to utilize some empty space. So when those projects come along, I'll take you along for that as well. So while the primary content is going to be about raised bed gardens and gardening, there will be some off the wall or off topic, if you will, type videos that get uploaded as well. I plan on at least posting one video per week. The goal is to film and edit content over the course of the weekend when I have time to do it. Because during the week, by the time I get home, it's dark, so there won't be much filming going on during the week. So most of the content is going to be filmed and edited and put into uploadable form through the weekend, to where Monday morning, when you're sitting on your front porch or on your back porch drinking your cup of coffee, getting ready for your day, you'll be able to watch the content that's put out. So the goal is to put a video out every Monday, probably 5 a.m. or something, however we figure out how to schedule it.
Do you have any future goals for the garden?
Yeah, so right now we have one raised bed garden that is a U shape. It is 4 foot wide by 12 foot long. So it has 2 4 foot by 12 foot runners along the side, and then one 4 foot by 12 foot along the back. The goal over the next 3 years is to quadruple the garden space. So by 2021 is to have 4 of those raised bed gardens going. Depending on how this one works, maybe the design changes. We may have one 12 foot by 4 foot that's dedicated to only potatoes, or I don't really know, but my vision right now is to have 4 times as much garden space as we currently do. And here comes the dogs. So there's Dozer. Yep, there's Dozer. And come here, Bonbon. Bonnie. We call Bonnie Bonbons. I don't know why, but there she is. Say hello to the camera. Hello. Yeah, they're our 3rd and 4th kid, and we really love them. So, other stuff that I plan on doing in the backyard is planting flowers. Basically, I want to turn my backyard into just like a little mini oasis, if you will, to where I plan on building a nice big deck out there with some railings on it to put the barbecue pit, because I love the barbecue. It's just the way things are set up right now, it's just hard to do a lot of stuff, and I'd like to spend as much time as I can on the back porch during the times of the year when you can do it, to be able to enjoy nature, get some bird feeders up. I have hummingbird feeders up. Plant flowers in containers and in the ground that attract the hummingbirds and the butterflies, and just enjoy what God's given us. Really enjoy nature. Enjoy the type of environment that's serene and just gives you some relaxation and just time away from the hustle and bustle of life, and just enjoy God's green earth. So that's the plan for the future expansion of gardening, if you will.
How do you plan to address your commenters?
Well, I always encourage comments. I think you can always learn from other people. There are going to be people that I hope, or hopefully there will be people that subscribe to the channel and watch the content and can give direction. I think I know there are always ways to learn. I've been in the field of respiratory care for approximately 13 years now, and there's not a day goes by that I don't learn something. And it may not be specific to the body. It may be specific to farming. I met a guy today who's one of my patients who, he had mentioned that he was trying to disc up the field that he was in. And so, I asked him a question. It's like, well, what are you trying to plant? Why are you disking? Well, come to find out, he wasn't disking to plant. He was disking to aerate the soil, because his soil has a lot of clay in it, and when it rains, the water just washes down into the creek. And so he was trying to prepare for the wet season that's coming up, so that the water will actually soak down into the ground to grow the clover and the grass for his cows to eat. And so, I think you can always learn from other people, especially people with a lot more experience than you. And so I encourage comments. If there's a question about something that I'm doing, why did you use fish emulsion? Why do you use Epsom salt? Why are you using this? Why are you using that? I'll be more than happy to answer the question. If there's people who see, hey, I've tried this before and it worked better than X, Y, and Z, that's great. Leave a comment down there. What you will not see, there's one video you will never see from this channel, is addressing negative comments videos. Okay? My philosophy is, if you don't like the content, you don't have to watch it. I think for me to take offense to a negative comment is kind of pointless. The content that I'm putting out on this channel is meant to be entertaining. It's meant to be educational. And if somebody doesn't like the content, they don't have to click the play button. I'm not in this to become a millionaire YouTuber. Okay? If it happens, hey, that's even better. But that's not the goal here. The goal here is to chronicle my adventure in gardening in my backyard, and provide the information to others who may be thinking they want to do the same thing. It also gives me a chance next year to go back and watch these videos to see, okay, I should not grow this type of vegetable again. It did not do well. Or, oh, okay, last year I only planted 5 squash plants. I should have planted 8 squash plants. It's a vlog, if you will, of me being able to go back to see what else I am. And if somebody has, comments something, that's great. If, I get 10,000 views and there's no comments, that's fine too. But I'm not going to address negative comments. I don't feel like acknowledging somebody who's bashing you is the right way to do it. So, I'm not going to do it.
That's all the questions I have.
Well, then I guess that's all the content for the introductional video. I hope you guys enjoy what we put out there. Please feel free to give feedback. If you have a question and you don't want to leave it in the comments, you can always email us. The email will be down in the description of the video. Our contact information is not going to be public. So if you would like me to try something that you're using, if you are a new product manufacturer and you want to feature your product on my YouTube channel, you can send me an email and tell me what you got, and if it's something I think I can use or would use, I'll send you our mailing address and you can send it, and we'll do a product demonstration and a feature and all that good jazz. But it's something that we'll maybe be able to get into down the road. Who knows? But for now, you'll hear me call myself Farmer Dan. I'm not a farmer. It's a Wannabe Texas Farmer channel. The first couple of videos, we've got content that we're putting together already. You may hear me flub that a little bit, so just bear with us as we get this together. So I appreciate all your time, and we appreciate your views. We hope you share. We hope you subscribe, and all that other YouTube jargon that's out there. And until next time, this is Farmer Dan. Have a nice one.